Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Sinusoid. That's all you need to know. You know what the deal is. You've listened to this show before. Sinusoid Pro Audio Couture makes possibly the best cables that you can buy.
The best cables I can think of.
I don't know anyone better.
I actually need to do a video review of some cables I got from them. I got those custom cables with the striped Tech Flex on them.
Oh yeah,
I've really been loving them. I really like the Tech Flex as a concept. I always looked at them and was like, I don't know if I'm into that. But now that I have them, I want all my cables to have that on there, and they look really freaking cool. That like black and white stripe. I'm a big fan of it. I like it's
classy.
What I like about the Tech Flex is that it doesn't like stick to itself. It slides all over the place. So it's like you've got this live snake following you around on stage, like slithering all over the place.
This doesn't strike me as a selling point.
I like it. I like feeling like there's a snake crawling around behind me. Sinusoid cables. They make cables and smiles. Then their snakes make you think there's a snake behind you. Did I say that right? Their cables make you think there's a snake behind you. Steve is silently shaking his head.
I would ask you to record this again, but we're way too deep.
Sinusoid cables. They make cables and smiles, and their cables will make you think there's a snake behind you.
That wasn't any better. Let's just get on with the show.
Hey, this is Ryan.
And this is Steve, and you are listening to 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing, destroying, other things podcast.
Hey, that one was pretty good. It felt like you intentionally deviated on it.
I did.
Intentional deviation, Steve.
I'm a regular deviant over here.
You're a regular deviator.
I'm a professional deviant.
I'm drinking an Oktoberfest beer here, a Polliner.
Technically, I am too, but I'm also drinking Opa from formerly Ballast Point Spirits, now Cutwater Spirits.
Yeah, I got that bottle of Opa at a garage sale.
Dude, Opa. So, this Opa, if you guys can find it, I will say this. If you guys are like, yeah.
It's like a better Jaeger.
Yeah, exactly. If you're like, I like Jaeger, but sometimes it tastes too much like I'm taking medicine, Opa is where it's at.
I got a big freaking bottle of this stuff too.
Dude.
It was unopened at a garage sale.
I remember when you bought that, and I feel like when you bought it, did you know exactly what it was?
I had a feeling. I knew it was. I'm obviously familiar with Ballast Point,
right? And
that their distilling operations.
I don't really want. Let's refer to them as formerly Ballast Point, now Cutwater, because I don't want to promote Ballast Point on this show.
Okay. So, anyways, I was at this garage sale.
Yeah.
And it was sitting out on like a counter, and I was like, "Are the garage sale people going to drink this? Is this sort of like their party garage sale?" And I pick up the bottle, and I look at the person at the register, and I'm like, or the money box or whatever. I'm like,
right.
How much? And she looks back at me, and she was like, $3. And I looked back at her. It was a friend's garage sale, like a friend of my sister's.
Oh, okay. And
I was like, no, that's too low. I'll give you $10. And she's like, oh, okay.
Big spender.
It's like a $20 to $30 bottle of booze or something, and it was like a garage sale to fund a trip down to Mexico to like teach not Mexico, down to Peru.
Oh yeah,
to teach underprivileged women.
I saw that
to surf.
I saw that documentary. It was really cool. The little 5-minute thing they did.
Yeah, I put that together.
I know
that little edit. Yeah,
good job.
Don't anyone ask me to do this, but my sister and her friends sent me all their iPhone footage, and I recorded a voiceover for them. I had one of the girls come over and I recorded her talking, and I edited together like a whole little mini doc for their thing after the fact.
I remember when you got this, you took a picture of it.
I guess I can count that bottle of Opa as part of my payment.
Right. And I remember messaging you like, dude, like, I don't know if you've had that before, but if you don't want it, I'll take it off your hands. I'm like a Jaeger fiend.
I'm not a big Jaeger guy, but every now and then, the thing is I bought it back in the spring. I've been waiting for winter.
Oh, okay.
It's a winter drink, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Kind of warm, kind of licoricey, you know?
Well, it's like, so
drink it around the Christmas tree.
Back at Cowerfest last year, so Cowerfest 2016, listener of the show, Co, got me hooked on Negronis. So now, like, anytime I go...
What's a Grony?
Negroni.
Oh, okay.
The drink,
Yeah.
Negroni. So anytime, like, I'm at a place that actually does them, I forget what all is in them, but, like, I feel like Jaeger, Opa, like, the very herbal liqueurs are kind of in that same ballpark.
Yeah.
They're not the same. Like, they're very different, but in terms of, like, just being, like, a bitter pill that you want to swallow.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of fit in that category.
All right, let's get into our regular content because this is done.
Ryan, what's new?
We finally picked a date and a location for our 200th episode party.
Oh, is that the what's new we're going to talk about?
Yeah, might as well.
All right, yeah, guys, if you are in the area on the weekend.
The area being San Diego.
Yeah, November 18th, from 1 to 4 p.m., we are going to be hosting our own 200th episode showdown party.
Yeah.
At Tiger, located in central San Diego.
Kind of North Park area.
The North Park area. It's a gastropub, I guess technically is what you would refer to it as. Basically, They have a huge selection of beers. Probably like, I say huge. I don't know. What'd you figure? 20, 30 beers on tap at any given time?
Easily.
They've got some wine there if that's not your speed. I don't think they have anything else. They got a lot of hipster food.
It's all very good.
It's all delicious, but it is hipster food. So it's like, yeah, it's poutine, but it's like red potatoes, and the gravy was sourced from locally slaughtered swine.
I'll dog on hipsters with everyone else. I'll say that hipsters like good stuff, though.
Dude, hipsters have the best taste in food. I just wish I could afford it.
I'll say that Tigers, their fries to go for. Because like so many hipster places, they have the truffle fries or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The fries to get are the curry fries. The curry fries are freaking really awesome there.
So, yeah, we're going to be doing this thing from 1 to 4. In the middle of it, we're going to record our 200th episode. At some point, we're going to be opening up a public Google Drive for people who are coming to the show to drop ads into so they can talk about the ads that they want to talk about.
No, you got this backwards.
Do I got this backwards?
We're going to drop the ads in there. They'll be able to look at the drive so that they can be up on what we're going to talk about. So if they want to jump on the mic and say something, they'll have it figured out.
There we go.
beforehand.
So basically, it'll be Ryan and I. We will have at least a third. Should we set up 4 mics? I feel like we should set up 4 mics.
No, I think 3 is enough.
Three's enough.
Too many mics and we lose control of the situation.
You guys can share.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we're already talking about after party because when the thing ends at 4, I guess you got to go somewhere else. We're talking about burritos for dinner just down the street at
Lucha Libre.
We will not have a reservation for that one, so it could be a little chaotic. We'll see.
Yeah, but if you want to come to the live taping of our episode at Tiger, we'll be starting to record, I think, around 2. And then
That's a plan.
And then after that, we'll do like some raffles or something like that. We don't have those plans all the way locked in.
So we're talking about like an hour to hang, an hour to record, and then probably more than an hour to record.
We'll probably bring some gear for people to like look at and touch. I don't know if we'll be able to set up amps to hear anything, but maybe I'll bring by some of the guitars that we use, like the Titan, little Stinker.
I could bring
the Epiphone SL, the Airlines.
I could, at the least, I could bring my my little Black Star amp.
Yeah.
People could go. We could either
bring
do
the
headphones, or that thing's pretty
Katana.
quiet. So
it's pretty quiet.
We got some headphone options too.
Yeah, I'll need to run it by the restaurant to see if it's okay for us to make a little noise back there. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
No promises, guys.
No promises.
I'm promising you no promises.
The other new thing we have is we were recording our pre-ep, which is what the inner circle gets to listen to each week.
Even though they don't.
Some of them listen to it. It's there. But while we were recording it, my doorbell rang. I ran to the door to see what was the matter. And,
yeah.
And
it was your son.
On the doorstep was a brand new package sitting right there waiting for me. It was a box
huge package.
It was huge. It was just huge.
Huge package.
Great
the
package.
Biggest package.
The biggest package. The best package.
Beautiful package.
Beautiful package. And we got this beautiful package from Joel Corte from Chase Bliss. It's my Tonal Recall returned home. I sent it before I went on vacation, and it's back, and it's got the red knob mod.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout on our YouTube channel. At some point, we're going to shoot out my Red Knob modded Tonal Recall against Steve's stock Tonal Recall that he just got in a trade. And so you'll get to hear the difference. I think the difference is just going to be in the length of time of delay.
thought there was some other stuff, but
I don't think so. But it'll be interesting to have fun with both of those at the same time.
Yeah.
Anything else new, Steve?
Yeah. I don't remember if I talked about this. If I did, then I'm going to talk about it again. And if I didn't, then I'm going to talk about it for the first time.
Those are the options.
But 60 Cycle Hut, the 60 Cycle Hum Fantasy Football League is in full swing right now.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it had a name. I was like, what are you talking about?
All I know is I'm pretty sure I'm getting my ass kicked.
Finally.
And yeah, because I won the first year. And I almost won the second year. But this year, the league is sponsored by Matthews Effects.
So is the thing this year is that you just decided that you're not going to cheat? Is that what?
I decided that if I was going to get a pedal from Matthews Effects, Rick would just send me one.
That's a little presumptuous.
No. I think this was one of several leagues where the guy who is considered the best fantasy football player in fantasy football this year, the best player that you can get, got injured the first week and will not be back until like week 9 or 10 of like the 17-week season. So literally, I got him in multiple leagues. Basically, I have this guy who's supposed to be worth like 15 to 20% of my points every week.
He's just gone.
Is just gone. So I think the 60 Cycle Hut League is one of the ones that's in. But enough about that. Rick Matthews Effects, thanks so much for sponsoring our league. It's super cool, basically, to have a individual sponsor this year who's setting it up. So I know the guys are pretty stoked about it. Hopefully they've all paid up. If they haven't, guys, $20. Come on.
Yeah, get in there.
My favorite thing about fantasy football season is every year I get this message from you that says, all these people are sending us $20.
Yeah.
Do you know why? What's going on?
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
So yeah, Matthews Effects, 60 Cycle Hum, fantasy football. It's a championship combination.
Oh, gosh. All right, let's get into the episode. Since this is still the recording session immediately after me getting back from vacation, we didn't have time to raid the Facebook group for ads, so we just had the email. And so we kind of felt like there wasn't a lot of ads in there, but we did a call for topics, and there was a lot of silly questions. So we're kind of going to do a different thing and just tackle some silly questions mixed in with like the normal questions.
We do have some good questions in here, but we're going to kind of rapid fire through some of the.
It's going to be a topic episode.
So
if you listen solely for the ads, I'm sorry. If you love the topics, this is your episode. This is it. Let's get started.
Yeah, this first question is.
This is going to be a silly one right out of the gate.
I can't find it. Is Santa real?
No, it's not that one. Come on. We all know he's very real.
Let's see.
Okay, it's from Jason Fuzzmonger.
Doritos.
Pineapple and its validity as part of other foods, particularly savors. I can't say it.
Particularly.
That still sounds wrong. Savory ones.
Correct.
Burgers, pizzas, tacos, etc. What's your initial knee-jerk reaction to this, Steve?
I like. Oh man, how many listeners will we lose right now?
I don't know. You might. It's important to get those hate listens.
I like pineapple pizza.
You do?
Yeah, I think the pineapple tomato combination is a winner.
I don't think about the pineapple plus tomato. I have a problem with pineapple plus cheese. You know what I mean?
I know what your meaning is.
I also have a trouble with pineapple kind of adjacent to the pork, which sounds weird.
Really? Because that pineapple pork is like a standard.
I know. But it's because it's like it's a certain flavor combination. It's that bacon hammy sort of thing. I had an incident.
So.
I had an incident when I was a kid, Steve, where I definitely 100% threw up chunks of hot dog and chunks of pineapple at the same time. So that's a personal incident that makes pineapple pizza very unappealing to me. But then other things make sense to me, are fine because they don't have that distinct hammy flavor that transfers over into the hot dog kind of flavor, I guess. I'm fine with a piece of grilled pineapple on a hamburger.
Right.
I'm fine with the piece of pineapple that's incorporated with odobato, with the spit cooked taco meat. But that's not super pineapple-y, and you're not getting a big chunk of pineapple on it.
I think I like
And I'm fine with candied pineapple that's on. No, I guess I don't really do that either.
What's candied pineapple?
Like sugared pineapple that's on a ham.
Dehydrated?
No, it's on a ham.
Stuff on a ham.
I guess I don't actually do that. I don't actually eat that.
I will say pineapple, like the classic Hawaiian pizza, which is pineapple and Canadian bacon, which...
Yeah.
Why isn't it called Canadian pizza?
That's a good question. It's not a Hawaiian invention at all, to my understanding.
Anyway, I like that. Pineapple on burgers, I could kind of take it or leave it. Not from a flavor position, but it's more of a...
Like a texture thing?
I mean, if you're going to have pineapple flavor, it's got to be... I mean, what's the minimum thickness for an effective pineapple? Like an eighth of an inch?
What is the minimum thickness for an effective pineapple is what Steve wants to know.
A quarter inch? I don't have room for that nonsense on a burger. I've been eating Flying Dutchman from In-N-Out the last 2 times I went.
What's a Flying Dutchman?
Meat. Double cheese, meat.
Oh, weird.
No bun.
How do you hold it? Is it in the paper?
Well, they give you a fork and a knife, but...
oh, okay.
But I just hold the meat.
Oh, man.
So there's something about having that meat in my hands, Ryan.
Steve likes meat in his hands. He just wants to hold that double meat.
Yeah. You hold that double meat, and then you put it in your mouth. It's delicious.
Are you a fan of alpine skiing?
I've never tried skiing.
I'm doing hand gesture, and now Steve is laughing. It was an offensive and crude hand gesture.
I feel like pineapple is something that I could probably just put on freaking most things.
Yeah, it's sweet and it's acidic. I think the argument against it being on pizza is that it's just
unnatural.
Well, pizza's not natural. It's
pizza is natural.
It's very far away from being an Italian ingredient.
Sure.
It's not even I don't think the argument of pineapple shouldn't be near savory is an effective argument because pineapple belongs with a lot of pork sort of stuff like Kahlua pork, you know, like ham and whatnot. It just belongs with it. It works well with meats. Still, I think my biggest issue is probably it in proximity to dairy. I'm very specific about dairy and combining an acid flavor with cheese. Like a fruity acid flavor. I think just fruit in general. I don't do fruit on pizzas. I think that's really the argument.
And with that, I think pineapple is the only accepted fruit. Some dingus is going to be like, well, technically tomato and bell peppers are fruts.
The bell peppers are squarely a vegetable.
Hey, go kill yourself.
Yeah, just suicide. That's the real answer.
But really, no. I'm pretty sure bell pepper. I'm pretty sure peppers.
Guys,
are technically
suicide
fruit.
Isn't funny. I'm sorry I laughed at that.
I'm pretty sure bell peppers are technically fruits.
Probably, but when you put bell pepper in a salad, that's not a fruit salad.
Yeah, when you put tomato in a salad, it's not a fruit salad.
Exactly. We're not talking about technicalities here. We're talking about accepted
you see, Ryan,
cultural flavors.
You see, Ryan, a fruit is defined by...
And who cares?
All right. I don't know. I like pineapple. I like pizza. The one that's interesting to me is Jason says tacos. I've never had pineapple in a taco, and now I want pineapple in a taco. You know what I have had in a taco is mango, and I doubted it. And then I had it, and then I loved it.
I don't like mango salsa.
I don't love it, but I get it.
I don't like it. I don't like salsas that go sweet and fruity like that. My cousin is big into dropping the big chunk of sour cream into the middle of a bowl of salsa. Have you ever seen that?
No.
That crosses the line for me for that cheese plus acid thing. I can't hang with that.
I just want my salsa to be like that. Just seems like an excuse to like not put the hottest thing you can in your mouth.
Yeah, I guess. Like I've never tried it and I don't want to. It seems really unappetizing to me.
I feel like
I've watched him ruin bowls of salsa with it.
Like
this salsa doesn't have cream cheese in it. Let me fix this. What are you doing?
I feel like if you mix it in, I mean,
no, that's not the thing. Is he leaves a block in the middle and you dunk your chip into the sour cream and then you dunk that into the salsa. I feel like if you want to do that, just leave the sour cream on the side, right?
Right, yeah. I don't...
Not sour cream, I mean cream cheese.
Cream cheese, whatever.
Did I say sour cream this whole time?
You said sour cream the first time and then you switched to cream cheese?
No,
it's
definitely cream cheese. Like the stuff you put on, you mix it into a frosting and you make cheesecake out of it, right? Or put it on bagels.
That is what you do with cream cheese.
You put it on bagels. He puts it in salsa, cream cheese.
I think we should talk about something serious.
Yeah, let's move on to the next actual topic. All right, so this topic was posted in my call for topics post on the Facebook group by John By. Have we ever had any interactions with him before? Is this a new guy?
I don't think so.
Welcome to the group, John By. Sorry if you've been around forever and I just don't recognize your name. So he asked, does it matter where a guitar is made anymore? I think this is a great question.
Yeah,
I think we've tackled similar concepts before, but it's nice to update it and get back into it again. Yeah. I feel like the world has changed since last we tackled this, maybe.
When was the last time we tackled this?
Probably the first year of the show. 4 years ago? 3 years ago? 3.5 years ago?
Something like that.
3 3/4 years ago?
Well, you see, Ryan, if you take the number of episodes that we make, divided by 52, multiply by the algorithm.
The algorithm? You can't just say the algorithm.
No.
Sounds smart, Steve. I mean, you are smart, but you don't pretend to sound smart. So this is a great question because typically in American guitar culture, and I guess global guitar culture, for the longest time, it's been like American-made instruments, American-made guitars. Those are the good ones. Those are the ones you pay money for. But I feel like things have really changed over the last couple of years.
I think, for a long time...
Yes?
That was such a strange opening line. It felt too political.
For a long time.
We always talk about, everything is about diminishing returns.
Sure.
So, what the difference between a $100 guitar and a $400 or $600 or whatever guitar is going to be a lot more than the difference between a $600 guitar and a $1,000 guitar.
Yes.
Even though, you have a similar differential.
The difference between a $200 guitar and a $800 guitar is going to be widely more vast than the difference between even a $1,000 guitar and a $6,000 guitar. Like,
and in
crazy.
turn, and this isn't intended as a dig at anybody.
No.
Somebody commented on one of our listeners commented on in regards to our sponsor spot for Equits guitars, where I think it was me who said that, these guitars start at just $2,100, and they were like, just $2,100, like that's a lot of money, and I agree, and that's a lot of money for me. But if you're looking for like guitars in that price point, like, I mean, a Gibson Les Paul Standard is another $1,000 more than that.
Yeah, and it's not made by one guy.
Yeah, so that is that trade-off. Is there is something where, as you move up like the chain of price, like what you're really paying for is access to the person who's building it.
Sure,
you're no longer paying for like the quality of build, and that sounds like I already know how that could be interpreted as like a dig, saying like, you don't think like this guitar is really worth that much money.
Well, you hit the top of quality. You're at the top of quality. It's it's hard to move past that point.
Exactly. At some point, you're talking about whether or not a specific builder hits your personal preference in a way that another builder wouldn't.
Exactly.
So most of these custom builders, pretty much every almost every custom guitar builder that I know is based in the United States. So it's still fairly easy to say like, oh, U.S. guitars are like the best ones because all of your very high end, even if you start including like the big guys, your Fender, your Gibson, your Martin, like,
Well, for the sake of not going down that rabbit trail, let's limit this topic to factory guitars.
well, I was gonna do that eventually.
Yeah, right, Steve. Okay, I knew you were getting there, but I wanted to get there faster.
All right, so I think really the biggest points or the biggest like angles for this is like PRS SE, Reverend guitars, maybe the newer Yamaha like the RevStar series.
What about guitar? Like we're talking about points of interest for this topic.
G&L Tribute series.
What about Duesenbergs?
Well, that might be a little complicated.
It's a little complicated.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like these are all brands that at least part of their process, if not all of their process, is done overseas. Now, in the case of Reverend, Duesenberg, I believe PRS, though I'm not 100% sure. These are all built in Korea. But
I mean, my Hallmark is made in Korea.
really,
That's nearly $1,000 guitars, Korean guitar.
I actually thought that guitar was Japanese for some reason.
No, it's not. Also, companies like, shoot, I can't remember them now. You know, Eastwood Airline, they have their stuff made overseas.
Yeah, some of them are made in China. Some of them are made in Korea, I believe.
What's the company that makes a bunch of left-handed guitars?
Oh, Pure Salem.
Pure Salem, they make all their stuff overseas.
Yeah.
Really, the gist I've gotten to talking to these companies that do this stuff, even the ones that are doing smaller runs like Hallmark and Pure Salem, it's not about where it's made. It's the level of quality that you pay to have them made overseas.
Right.
It's all about quality control. Like I think overseas has gotten a bad name for a long time because the simple fact of it was that the big companies like Fender and Gibson, you know, Yamaha, you know, whatever, the bigger companies were devoting their higher quality control to their instruments that were being made in the U.S. I realized just now I said Yamaha, and I don't think they have a U.S. factory. But the reality is that you get what you pay for. And if you order guitars, you say you're a company and you order guitars to be made for you in Korea or China or Japan or anywhere, and you pay for them to be made at a certain quality spec, that's just what you get. You get that quality spec.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you order that from a U.S. factory or if you order it from a Korean factory or a Mexican factory or whatever. You're ordering the same quality spec, and you put that product out at that quality spec.
Yeah. So I think for companies that are mindful of that, that's true. And there are a few other companies. There's a guitar brand that I've seen advertised on Facebook. I've seen them pop up locally on Craigslist called Hard Luck Kings. Have you seen these guitars?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
And I think they're one of these shops where like they basically spec out a bunch of work to China, get the guitars pretty cheap. They're shipped to the U.S., and then they might go some kind of final inspection process here. As far as I've been able to figure out, and by all means, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know or if any of our listeners know, but there's a company called Sublime Guitar Company.
I've never heard of them.
That is also like gaining some traction in terms of popularity. But as far as their manufacturing process and everything goes, the only way I can imagine they're hitting their price points is by everything being import one, and then they just do their I don't even know if they're doing like hardcore like fit and finish quality controls type work. Like some companies, they have their necks and bodies built overseas and then everything's assembled here. Other companies do all of the assembly overseas, and then they're just like basically all the person on the state side is doing is like making sure everything is actually the right measurements and that the strings are, you know, properly tuned or whatever.
Reverend's big trick for years is because all their stuff is made overseas, and everyone who gets a Reverend just loves it to death. They have
Yeah.
like super high customer satisfaction. Their big trick is when stuff shows up, they pull every box open, they get every guitar out, and they do a complete setup
Right.
in the U.S. or wherever they are. They're U.S., right? They're not Canadian.
Yeah, Reverend is a U.S.
So they do a complete setup and make their guitars just play exactly how they're supposed to play, and that leads to like high customer satisfaction,
Yeah.
like I was saying.
I mean, there's a long list. So, all this being said, I will say, doesn't matter where your guitar is made. That's what I wrote down on my paper. The answer is sort of
It's both.
sort of both. Yeah.
As far as playability and as far as quality goes, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, I would say yes. So somebody, I saw someone on a group that found there's all these. You go on Alibaba, you go on
Sure.
DH Express, or not DH Express, Alibaba. You go on DH Gate. You see all of these companies that are making knockoff, like counterfeit guitars, basically, right?
Right.
But you can find other people who are builders, I guess, of sorts that use similar factories, but are actually branding the guitars as their own.
Right.
Sometimes those people are based in that country, so you have communication issues. They may or may not be actual guitar players, so maybe the quality of the instrument isn't. It's not going to go through the hands of somebody who can really say
Right.
that something's good. So I what I'm trying to get at is, I guess you could say this for even US made, like,
Yeah.
not all guitars are the same. Like, you still have to be a little bit wary. So, like, buying a Reverend import from Korea might be a little different than buying from a less reputable dealer, and not less reputable in the sense of like, oh, you're buying from someone sketchy with a history of being sketchy, but more in the sense of you're buying from someone that just doesn't have like the body of work that like a company like Reverend might have.
Well, I think that to get to the spirit of the question, the thing that matters isn't for quality and for playability. The thing that matters isn't where it's made. The thing that matters is how it's made.
Right.
And how it's handled as a product.
Right.
Like I said, you can order American spec quality builds from factories all over the world now.
Right.
I'm sure there's places in the world where you just can't get things made to that spec. So in that way, yeah, in an abstract way, like if you find some tiny country in Africa that doesn't have a workforce prepared to make guitars, you're not going to get good guitars out of there. But it doesn't matter where a guitar is being made, if it's being made to the exact same specs in America versus Korea versus China or wherever.
And in that sense, it's all about like, are the people who are building these things trained to the level that they need to be trained to hit their quality control points?
I mean, the big countries that produce guitars now, I think they've all proven themselves that they can make guitars at whatever spec they need to.
Yeah.
The other side of this answer, the side that says it does matter where it's made, is purely the resale market, and it comes down to consumer values and consumer ideas about quality. Like not everyone is on that page, and a lot of people still assume that an American instrument is a higher quality instrument no matter what. They just like, oh, I wouldn't buy that guitar when I can buy this one that was made in America. It's, by real Americans like me.
I think the secondhand market is moving slower, reacting slower to changes in trends.
And it also doesn't help that, imported guitars for the most part start out cheaper.
Sure. But I mean, in terms of value retention, in terms of long-term value retention, collectability, and some of that might just be because the bigger brands, that survived and became iconic are American brands for the most part.
Absolutely.
But if you managed to get your hands on was it Wandre? Those
Yeah.
weird Italian guitars, like back in the day, when they were dirt cheap. Like they're worth a lot of money right now.
Yeah, and you know, the various vintage Japanese guitars and stuff like that. Like you mentioned,
Yeah.
Italian guitars. I'd love to have an older Burns guitar, you know, British-made guitar. There are exceptions out there, but for the most part, American-made guitars carry that clout still, which allows them to carry a higher resale value and a higher intrinsic value.
Yeah.
So in that sense, in purely a financial, psychological, collectible sense, it still does matter. But the playability and the quality, it's not about where it's made, it's about how it's made.
If you're buying a brand new guitar, if you're walking into a Guitar Center or Sam Ash or whatever, your local store, and you're looking to buy a guitar, just go play guitars.
Close your eyes, just pick a guitar at random. If it doesn't feel good, you can put it down. And then like have someone like put covers over your eyes so you can't see, and then at the end of the day, the one that feels the best and sounded the best to you, you just take that to the register, you take off your blindfold after you pay, and you're like, oh my goodness.
After you pay.
Oh my goodness, look what I bought. I would have never expected.
My stars.
I would have never expected that I would buy this guitar. It's an Ibanez. I'm buying an Ibanez. I can't believe it.
Oh, Ibanez.
Should we jump on to the next joke topic here?
Yes.
It's a funny joke. Another food
Dude.
topic because we're bored and we don't have anything else to do.
Pretzels.
A hot topic.
Cheese or mustard?
See, I don't think cheese or mustard is the real question here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm assuming if you're talking about cheese versus mustard, you're talking about fresh pretzels.
Mm-hmm. Hot, big pretzels.
Hot, big, fresh pretzels.
The kind you get at a fancy shop, like, say, a Rough Draft Brewing in San Diego, California.
Do they sell fresh pretzels?
They do sell fresh pretzels.
Dude.
I mean,
I guess it is a good question.
They're probably just frozen pretzels that they reheated, but you know.
As long as it's good when you get it, man. As long as it's good. So what do you do? Mustard or
much like
mustard or cheese?
The young lady in the Ortega commercial, I say, "Porque no los dos."
So mustard and cheese together?
I dip in mustard and I take a bite, and I take the other end, so I do not double dip, and I dip that in the cheese.
I don't see why there's any problem with that. I like to go dry.
Dry pretzel.
I'm a dry pretzeler.
You're a dry pretzel.
Yeah, and I like the.
You like to keep it salty.
I like the
Salty
salt on there.
AF.
I like that big salt.
All right.
But I don't like as much as they come with. I brush off like at least half the salt.
Wait, so you like big salt, but not that much big salt?
I like a big salty pretzel in my mouth.
Have you ever been?
Why don't pretzels come in churro shapes? It'd be so much easier to eat.
Seriously,
like a long pretzel.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like a dough style, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I'm sure it's just traditional. It's a German
Yeah.
thing. They make them pretzels in a cute little bow.
Backing this boat up a little. Have you ever driven down I-5, like around, say, Main Street, Palomar Street in Chula Vista?
I
Looked
can't
off
remember.
to the west. So Chula Vista, the south end of San Diego Bay, is like a salt mine. Like a salt mine area. And they have these, but they don't, it's not a mine. They pull it off of the bay. They basically they have these pools on the bay.
Evaporate it out.
That they evaporate. They have these evaporation pools and they mine like massive hills of salt down there.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You think it's industrial salt or food salt?
I don't know.
I bet it's industrial.
All I know is southbound on I-5, windows down, music on my stereo.
And big hills of salt.
And big hills of salt. I like pretzels in all forms. Like if I'm thirsty, then maybe I forego the mustard. If I've got a beverage with me that works, and I'm all about that brown mustard life.
Brown mustard is nice.
Pretzel is a great food for any sporting
I feel
event.
like this question doesn't matter when you're talking fresh pretzels. Because a fresh pretzel is just going to be good no matter what.
Yeah.
And cheese is going to be good no matter what.
I'm not going to put my pretzel in like hot sauce.
Mustard's
I'm not going to put my pretzel in like...
Dude, dunk a fresh
Ranch.
dunk a hot fresh pretzel in like buffalo sauce. That's gonna be yummy.
That's a little different. That's a creamy hot sauce.
Okay. But here's
saying, like,
here's my
salt,
question.
salsa.
Here's the real way to figure this out. Cold hard pretzels. I'm talking like rolled gold bag of pretzels.
You got to eat that straight.
That's
you don't
just,
dip that in anything.
You wouldn't dip that in anything?
I don't.
If you
I?
were to dip a dry, cold packaged pretzel into anything, would it be cheese, the thing that's going to warm it up and saturate it a little bit? Or are you going to dip it in mustard?
The first thing I would do if I had a rolled gold pretzel that I wanted to dip is I would put my hand upon its hip.
When you dip, I dip.
We
dip. I see.
I actually didn't think you were going to get that reference.
I'm a child of the 90s.
All right. I know you are, but I thought that might have been a little far.
No.
All right,
I knew people in the 90s who would sing that song and do the dance. They'd also do the Humpty Dump.
No, I for like cold pretzels, I don't dip that in anything. I just open the bag on the couch and I eat them in shame.
Here's the thing: you can get
In shame.
You can go those cold pretzels in mustard varieties.
Yeah,
but that's way different than dipping them in mustard.
It's completely different.
100% different because that mustard is like a powder on those. I would definitely dunk cold pretzels into hot nacho cheese until I was sick. I would do that.
I just don't. I can't.
And
imagine
I think that's
it.
the way to win the argument.
Is that a cold pretzel will do cheese, but you wouldn't do a cold pretzel in mustard.
Right, but a hot pretzel works with either.
And you think it's all about the temperature of the pretzel.
I think it's about the freshness.
I don't even know if like the shrunk ass rolled gold pretzel counts as a real pretzel.
It's a real pretzel, it's just a different style.
I guess. All right,
but
fine.
it is kind of a difference of it's a comparison where like you could equate it to we dip French fries in ketchup. Would you ever dip
a potato chip
in ketchup? I guess it's different in that way. So let's move on to a guitar topic. This is stupid.
I dip my potato chips in the appropriate dips that are sold by the companies that produce aforementioned potato chips.
Ruffles or Lay's, huh?
Well, for dipping Ruffles, for eating Lay's.
Have you ever had the roughly Lay's chips? I forget, like wavy Lay's.
Yeah, they're not the same.
Do you think they're superior or inferior to Ruffles? They are inferior. Ruffles win still.
I think the wave is too wide.
Yes,
and it ends up tasting too much like a Pringle.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
the whole essence of Lay's is that they are original. Like they're just like somebody took a potato and chopped it up.
They're a deli chip.
Yeah.
Lay's is like you put a big pile of it next to your sandwich. Ruffles is like you're gonna dip that.
Even Ruffles, like Ruffles do retain, like Ruffles have impurities in them. Like somebody took the just a wavy cut.
Yes.
And cut up a potato and then cut it and then cooked it.
It's not like a Pringle that's like a factory
but
stamped
something
out
about wavy Lays and their perfection makes me think of Pringles. It's a little too pasty. It's a little too much of a grainy texture. It's not bad per se. Sometimes I just want to slam a can of Pringles.
No, sometimes you need Pringles.
Yeah.
Especially pizza.
I don't know if I ever
pizza flavor.
I don't know if I ever need
Once
Pringles.
you pop, you literally cannot stop.
That's why I don't pop, bro.
I try to avoid popping.
Do you even pop, bro?
Let's talk about guitar stuff, please.
You're
listening to 60 Cycle Hum, the snack debate podcast.
All right.
Our logo is shaped like a chip.
I thought it was a guitar pick.
No, that's a chip for sure.
All right. Michael Newman wants to know, what do you do when you're no longer suffering from gas?
Gas is, of course, gear acquisition syndrome. It's the reason why we're all here today. My comment to him was, if you experience contentment for over 4 days, please consult a physician.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And I think that is at least semi-accurate. I mean,
What's wrong with you if you're happy with what you have?
yeah.
I mean, come on. The happiness comes from new things, not from retaining the things you already had.
I think it's okay to
I think
it's okay to,
I think not having the desire to buy more gear means that you're just done playing guitar, right?
I think sometimes the problem is that too many guitarists have failed to adopt the mantra, if you can't love the ones you're with, if you can't love the ones
you want,
then love the ones you're with. And I think that's a leading contributor to gas.
Yes. And just because you have gas doesn't mean you have to buy anything. You can just window shop, you know? But there are people out there who just don't care about buying gear. Like they buy one guitar, they buy the couple things that they need, and like, oh, I've got it, and I'll just play with these things until they don't work anymore.
I always thought that was a Rolling Stones song.
Those people are sick in the head, and I don't understand them.
I found out recently that it was not a Rolling Stones song. That was Crosby, Stills, Nash. Was it also Young? Was Young involved at that point?
The Stones covered it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm not a psychopath.
At least I think they covered it, unless Crosby, Stills, and Nash covered it.
It's originally written by Stephen Stills.
Okay.
There's an Isley Brothers version, a Bucks Fizz version.
Wait, which song are we talking about?
Love the One You're With.
No, that's not Stones at all.
Okay.
Okay. For some reason, I got crossed up, and I thought we were talking about.
Sorry.
Sometimes you don't get what you want, you get what you need.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I always thought "Love the One You're With" was a Stone song.
I'm still like recovering from vacation over here. I'm surprised we're even able to do this today.
I'm just trying to get on your level.
Yeah. I'm having trouble keeping up, Steve.
Yeah. So
we were talking about pretzels and chips.
So the thing,
like a minute ago.
The thing with gear acquisition syndrome is that I feel like I've been. I don't know if it's about the way that I grew up or what, but I've never like felt like a strong draw to be like, I want that. And then like I just buy it.
Right.
Like literally again, like we talk about different groups.
Part of our gas, the way that we process our gas, Steve, is that we sit and debate the thing that we kind of want until the point where we decide not to get it or to get it.
Right.
And then when once we decide to get it, then we go on like, months long used market like journey to try to find it for the exact price we're willing to pay.
Why do I not have a Miku yet?
What's a Miku?
The Korg Miku?
Oh, yeah.
I just need to go buy it.
Yeah.
I need to stop talking about it. I just need to buy it. But yeah, I think a little bit of it is consumerism. I think a lot of it is whether you're a hobbyist or, well, if you're I don't want to say entry level professional. If you're like a lower level professional
musician,
are
we talking about a professional muso here?
Yes.
A working muso?
Like a working muso. Then maybe you're looking for that thing to put your like sound over the edge that will get record labels to notice you. The answer is Klon Centaur. Everybody knows.
Yeah, you got to stack them if you want them to sound good.
Yeah, but then you're $4,000 in debt. Good luck digging out of that.
Yeah.
But I think that is like a thing. Is like we chase this tone dragon, and it is addicting, and it's a lot of fun. And some people, it becomes that collector's thing where some people they buy a boat for $500 and then they dump like thousands of dollars a boat into it, or they buy a abandoned 1968 Ford Mustang and they dump thousands of dollars of Ford Mustang parts into it just to get it out of the driveway. They still haven't refinished it. It's still rusted as hell.
Yeah,
but at least it runs a third of the time. We all kind of have this a little bit in some facet of our lives sometimes.
There's a big hobby element to guitar. Absolutely. Is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
And the trying everything is a big part of the hobby element. Like,
Well,
I don't have that. I want to try that, you know?
And going on with that, try that idea is, you've got two fuzzes, and you say, well, fuzz 2 is better than fuzz 1. So you buy fuzz 3 because fuzz 3, if fuzz 3 is better than fuzz 2, then it's definitely better than fuzz 1. But you want to own two fuzzes, just
You
in
need
case.
a backup.
And if fuzz 3 isn't better than fuzz 2, then you still have to have fuzz 1 around so you can compare those two, because you can't be sure that fuzz 3 is better than fuzz 1.
And then by the time you get to fuzz 5 or 6, you realize that all the fuzzes are good, but they're just different. And you need a different fuzz for different applications, and you can't sell some of your fuzzes because like a buddy made them, or you used one in your band and you might have to like do that band again, or you used one in a certain song. It's like, and then you're on to like your 11th or 12th fuzz.
Yeah, man, I better go buy a wah soon just in case that Morning Glass reunion ever happens.
And then like a version 2 comes out of one of your fuzzes that has like someone like a boutique builder made a version of it, and it's just got this little tweak in it that makes it a little bit different, maybe better. And you have to explore like how much better that fuzz could be.
And version 2 might technically be better than version 1, but version 1 is what you recorded that song with that at least 6 people at the bar clapped for.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're saying here is if you run out of gas and you don't have gas anymore, it probably means that you're a healthy adult who doesn't have a silly, ridiculous addiction to tiny boxes that you step on and no one can even hear them.
Means you're a better person than we are.
Exactly. You're probably making good decisions with your life. You probably have a retirement fund set up. You got a nest egg. My nest egg is shelves of pedals strewn around my house.
Just sell your house.
With the pedals? House for sale. Pedals included. I like that idea. Some people remodel their kitchens and their bathrooms before they sell a house. If I ever sell mine, I'm just going to be like, hey, look how many fuzz pedals come with it.
Oh, my gosh.
Pitch that to the real estate agent someday. Right here, we have a lovely 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath, and it comes with 50 fuzz pedals.
Gross.
15 of them are muff variants, and we have a few fuzz faces. This one's interesting here. What should we move on?
We should move on to this last question sent in by Caleb Neff. He says, quality versus Mojo, which you prefer? Exclusively pitting plucky, cheapish guitars against high-end ones that people say are hard to connect with. What gives a guitar mojo?
I mean, mojo is just a stand-in for personality, right? That's all.
Sure.
That's all we're talking about here.
Example, I have a cheap Telecaster Deluxe parts guitar that is forever my one and only. Everybody who plays it says how great it feels and sounds, and I can't believe that I only paid $340 for it. On the flip side, I have a friend who just trades high-end stuff that normally just feel like they don't even... A friend who trades high-end stuff that normally just feel like they don't even want to make music. They're well-made things rather than instruments made for being expressive.
I mean, this is so subjective.
Sure. This goes back to, and I know I've mentioned it, at least 190 times on this show before. A few years ago, I went to Guitar Center and pulled like 4 or 5 different Telecasters off the wall. And the one that I felt like was the guitar that I could write a song with was a Squier Classic Vibe.
Yeah. And
everything else was like, I mean, it wasn't bad, but the one that was like, that felt like the one was this, $350, $380, whatever Squier. So I think there is something to that. That being said, like a lot of people spend a lot of money trying to chase somebody else's mojo.
Sure.
You find out that Jack White played Montgomery Ward's Airline, whatever. What was that? What was the actual model? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
There's a Hutto. I think it was JB Hutto Montgomery Ward's model. That was like the Seven Nation Army guitar, I think.
Right.
And so the prices on those things skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And it was just people trying to chase something that Jack White had found in one or two or three particular ones. I thought it was really interesting that when you saw him playing with like the Dead Weather a few years later, he was playing like, granted modified to his specs, but he was playing like modded Gretches.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't playing weird guitars anymore. He was playing Gretches.
Well, you use the guitar that fits the project you're working on.
Sure,
you know?
sure. So, I mean, along those lines, like, yeah, you can chase Mojo, but you might spend a lot of money chasing that. You might, that's been the criticism for a long time of Paul Reed Smith guitars, is that they are technically accurate guitars. They're the perfect nu metal guitars because they have no, like, internal characteristic to them. They're just, like, perfectly playing bland guitars.
You make them sound so awful, Steve.
Well, it's not
No,
awful.
but they're like you said, they're technically high quality, very spec oriented guitars,
Right?
and they're not like some guitar that's just got a bunch of knots in it, and like who knows how well the pickups were wound to spec. They're all a little different,
Well,
they don't have an individual personality per guitar.
Right, and the thing is some people are going to say like, well, that's what I want. Like, I want a perfect guitar. If I'm going to spend money, like, I want to get the best thing I can get. And some people are just looking for a quirk, and they're going to say like, oh, those knots, like, yeah, something. Knot 3 over here is a 1/4 inch hardwood knot that shifts the resonance peak of the body down.
Right. Could you imagine if
3% at 2.5K?
If guitar builders were trying to reproduce certain knot placement and
perfect
and dimensions and placement and
perfect for the neoclassical prog metal country band that I've been thinking about starting.
I think to a certain extent the personality and the mojo is in the player, but to a counter argument, it's kind of like people who end up, adopting pets that look like them. You're trying to find a guitar that matches your personality. And if your personality is that you're, a highly like technical, like proficient, like, on the money player, then, maybe in an Ibanez shreddy guitar where, every fret is perfectly in line and never buzzes out all the way up to the 24th fret, and the action's super fast. Like, maybe that fits your personality and that is your mojo.
Yeah.
But if you're a player that kind of wants to fight your guitar and you're more about, like capturing, single notes that bend out in a certain way, or that you want a guitar that makes you feel a certain way while you're playing it, then you get your guitar that's totally different.
Yeah. I think that's really the core of it is for some people, like fighting a guitar is like a little bit of a challenge.
Sure.
And it's part of what makes things interesting, and it's part of what to throw this out. Somebody a few weeks ago, this was actually a few months ago, I was playing my Telecaster.
I don't care if it was years ago, Steve. I want to hear about it.
I was playing my Telecaster at church, and somebody comes up and goes, that buzz in the system, it's your guitar. I'm like, yeah, it's a single coil pickup. The problem isn't me. The problem is you guys need to replace all the fluorescent lights in this building. And I mean, to an extent, for what it's worth, like most of the time lately I've been riding the humbucker on that guitar just because of noise. But, when we were doing the Morning Glass, once I had that guitar put together, like, looking back, I've tried like a few different guitars with that band, and I can't really imagine going full time in that band with anything other than that red Telecaster.
Sure.
There's something about it that is like, that's the guitar for the music that I want to make. And for a while I was using this I had a Squire Deluxe, Squire Custom 2 Telecaster, which was the dual P90 model. And it just like, as much as I wanted to like that guitar, it just wasn't.
It didn't fit.
It didn't fit. And I would always find myself being like, I would bring that guitar as the backup for my red guitar. And that red guitar, like, I don't really know playability wise. It's kind of weird. It's got like jumbo frets.
Yeah.
But then like the action, I've got it set as fast as I can. It's just kind of weird. It's definitely not like as easy playing as like that PRS that we got to demo.
Yeah.
You know, and I really loved playing that thing. But there's just certain like something about like with that band where I was like, I need a guitar I can smash on. I need a guitar that I know like I can smash on reliably, that I'm not worried about, that is no matter how bad I as a person play, it's still going to make the tones that I want. Like that was the guitar. So I think sometimes like that is really the answer like to the whole Mojo versus quality debate is sometimes you find a very high quality guitar that also like you feel comfortable just like, you know, like this guitar is never going to let you down.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a cheap guitar, you know?
Yeah. I don't think Mojo and quality are, you know, mutually exclusive or inexclusive or however you want to say it. There's some very high quality guitars out there that are just dripping in Mojo.
Right. No,
and there's some very
exactly
low quality, low cost guitars that have almost no personality at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Like all these stupid first act guitars you keep bringing home.
No, like that, the Dean Custom Zone. Even though I, you know, did like a whole finish thing on it and put in a kill switch and all that, at its core, it's a really low personality, like wannabe shredder guitar that plays very sterile. But the way I play it, when I play it, like puts personality into it.
Sure.
But someone could sit down and play like the most like clean and sterile, like neoclassical riff on it.
I think any
guitar
you play with the trem is gonna like have a lot of your personality in it.
Yeah.
I think the hardtail guitars that you have owned, like kind of, I think you fought with a little more.
Sure. To like get my personality.
Yeah.
From it. Yeah. I could see that. Well, with the exception of the Duosonic, where the strings are so loose, it might as well have a trim on it.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. I get that. No, but then like the Titan, I feel like the Titan has a lot of personality.
Yeah.
But it's like a really snappy kind of, but like, I'd say that the Titan is the most technically well-playing guitar that I own that also still has like its own mojo.
Sure.
Like it's its own thing. Like if I closed my eyes and someone put it in my hands, I'd be like, oh, this is the Titan. This is like, it's got that sound. It's got that feel.
Well, I think that's part of that
I feel like I play different with it.
That other side of the discussion of like, you know, Mojo versus, you know, I talk about the Telecaster, actually the guitar of the various guitars that we've played. I think actually the guitar, if we ever did like a Morning Glass reboot, which we're never going to do because that band just kind of stalled out.
I don't want to sing anymore.
I'm still open to doing a YFB reunion where I just do all the vocals.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
you've never mentioned that to me before. I
never added that part.
I hate the idea.
I never added that part.
I don't even want to do that.
So, but I think actually the Lil Sinker is the one guitar I've played
that one's got a lot of personality too.
That would be a better Morning Glass guitar than the one that I own.
I think when we think of low personality guitars or you know like the opposite of a Mojo guitar, we are thinking of the PRSs of the world. We're thinking of the Ibanez's of the world. We're thinking, you know, like you could put Carvin in that list. Like these, like technically well put together guitars that just for whatever reason, they're more like a scalpel than like a big kitchen knife or something like that. You know? Like they're precision and they feel like they're precision. It feels like there's not any variance going on there. Like I feel like with those style of guitars that for whatever reason fit in that category, which is just completely made up in our heads, is that in your head you imagine like, oh, you take that guitar out of a player's hands and you put the other guitar in there and it's just going to sound the same. And it's just a technical instrument, like if you take away Steve Vai's Jim and you give him a different Ibanez,
right, it's
going to be really close. You give him a 24 fret PRS, it's going to be really close. You give him, a Carvin, it's going to be really close,
Well, according to YouTube, if you give Joe Satriani a Squire,
yeah, he can still play a song until he gets to the part that needs him to pull on the tremolo.
Right, right. Well, then that Squire just needs to be set up as floating. Jokes aside, I mean, I think there is something to that. And at the same time, like, it sounds like we're digging on PRS or Ibanez and whatever. But you and I, we worked a do-it-yourself venue for, 2 years, 3 years, something like 4 years? I don't know.
3 years, I think.
I don't know how long that was. And we saw all kinds of bands come through with all kinds of equipment where people were making the music that they wanted to make with stuff that I looked at and be like, I'd never use that.
Yeah.
Of course, for what it's worth, I also saw lots of bands come through or be like,
you shouldn't use that.
You really shouldn't be using that.
I mean, I consider that Hamer that I had a low personality guitar.
Right.
But when I played it, I would put my personality into it.
And I think what's your thought on, you used to have that Hamer Echo Tone that you sold. Would you call that a low personality guitar?
No. I mean, there's something about a semi-hollow body guitar that brings a certain amount of fight into it. You're spending more energy to charge it up with resonance because it's bigger too. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's really so subjective, and it's just these ideas that we have about guitars and the celebrity guitarists that have played them and the types of music that they use to play them. When it just really doesn't matter. I don't think it's just such it's a construct, Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. All right.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah. Thanks again to Sinusoid. We're just going to keep promoting the Sinusoid Houston cable until they tell us to stop.
It looks really cool. It will help rebuild Houston.
Yeah.
Which is an area within Texas, I believe.
Yes. Houston is a city in Texas.
Yes. I'm vaguely familiar with it. But like I said earlier, you get this cable. If you ever tour through Texas, people are going to see you on stage and they're going to know. They're going to know that you helped them out.
Or they won't, but in either way, it's a good cause. Check them out, sinusoid.com. They make cables.
And smiles.
This week's song was sent to us by Gino Ames. He says, "Hey, 60 Cycle Hum, here's a submission for the end song. I wrote, sang, and played all the guitars and bass. Drums are obviously a loop. I used an Ibanez RG with EMG pickups into a Vox simulator. Really enjoyed the show. Thanks, Gino."
Let's see if his guitar tone has any mojo in it.
Yeah, I will say after this song, we only have one more in our queue for songs. So if you want to have your song played at the end of the show, send it to us at 60cyclehumcast@gmail.com. Or if you have any other questions or anything else about the show, hit us up. Look for us on Facebook. We have a group. We have a group called The Junkyard. That is a buy-sell trade group.
Yep.
We have a group called Praise and Worship, which we don't do anything in.
We only open it up once a year.
It is shut down currently, but people still join. Or just hit us up via email. Again, we also have a group called The Inner Circle that you don't know about. And if you want to, too bad. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Got a brother, he ran away. It's hard being small town and gay. I got a brother, he loves the weed. He's just looking for a daddy to please. I got a brother, he's lost in the booze. Be the first to tell you that he's nobody's fool. I I turned 18 and I got the hell out. Had to find out what I was all about. Guess we're all just running away. Here tomorrow and gone yesterday. Are you all just running away? Pick up the pieces and find a new way, find a way. Well, he passed away. Got tired of smoking cigarettes all day. I got an aunt, she's crazy as hell. She's popping pills, trying to feel well. Got a nephew, his mom's all messed up. She was running away and she smashed up a truck. He turned 18 and he got the hell out. He had to find out what it was all about, all about. Are we all just running away? Here tomorrow and gone yesterday. Are you all just running away? Pick up the pieces and find a new way, find a way. Got a brother, he ran away. You know it's hard being small town and gay.